Hi, I'm Ella, and this is Ella Podcasts. The Christmas season is upon us. Carols are playing in the stores and on the radio. Beautiful Christmas trees and decorations adorn the streets, and there's the buzz of excitement in the air. Then there's seeing in the new year with a bang. However, not everybody feels happy vibes at this time of year. For some of us, we're alone, and it can be a very lonely and isolating experience. We understand this can be a particularly rough time of year to get through. So today, we're looking at why the festive season can be lonely and provide you with ideas on how to get through it and improve your mood and your mindset. We're sharing our personal experiences, feelings, and advice on how to stay positive during this time. I'm joined today by Dr. Jonathan Marshall. He's a top psychologist and former professor. He is a Stanford and Harvard educated graduate, and he offers perspective and practical advice with a very kind heart. Echo Wu is a leadership and mental toughness coach. She works with people to increase their resilience and positivity. And Kara Aston-Benson is an Australian expatriate living in Singapore. She's an entrepreneur with a popular retail store called Wild Shop, and she has a wealth of experience to share today. So, Jonathan, let's start with you. Why is Christmas and New Year lonely and emotional for some people?
I think it's a huge question, but I think there are lots of reasons. One is we contrast our experience with what we hope and what we think everybody else is experiencing. And as we doom scroll and we see another happy face in a perfect family and we think about our own experience, it'd be pretty easy for many people to feel a bit unhappy.
Well, I guess the answer can be varied, depend on every individual. Some, because I coach people on mental toughness, and I realize there are mental tough people who are resilient, strong. They can also be very lonely. The thing is, they put on a mask. So for a lot of time, the sensitive people are getting a lot of attentions. But the people who are putting on the mask, they are really the ones suffering, especially during these times. They join parties or they meet people and pretend I'm okay, but deep down they are not okay. And when they are by themselves, all of those emotions come. So I probably will also encourage everyone to take a look at this group of people who seems to be okay, pretend to be okay, but they are actually not okay.
And obviously we're all residing in Singapore. We're away from our home countries. Yeah. And I think that sets, that's even more tough for some people if they can't go home for Christmas, or if you live in a big city and your family is spread out in different cities, it can be hard for everyone to get together, and it can be an emotional time if you're not doing that. Kara?
Look, being an expat here for many, many years, meeting such a beautiful range of people, coming and going, especially at this time. People are already preparing to go. Some are preparing to stay, but then they're staying for, sometimes sacrificial reasons. They can't afford to travel, or their parents can't afford to come and visit, or their families are dispersed. So unfortunately, it can be a really, really lonely time for people.
And it just gets heightened at Christmas. And as Jonathan said,
because it is a jolly time of
there's
year.
An image of what it should look like. And especially I think when you're in a location where you can be in a swimming pool on Christmas Day, which sounds great, but you don't feel like you're getting that authentic Christmassy experience.
Depends on your experience,
yeah,
as a childhood growing up as well, because it's such a based around children, right? The giving and the presents and the frivolity and family and
I think even in best case scenarios, Christmas can be pretty stressful. There's a lot to do. There's finances to have to deal with. There's, if you are going back to family, there's the stress of, oh my God, that uncle again, or I bet she's going to criticize the turkey that I made, or whatever it is. And so I think there's a built-in stress, even in the very positive experiences. But I think Christmas is also a time of memories, and some memories include losses. I remember when, and when so and so died, and that partner I had who's no longer with me. Those all come back with Christmas. I think it's a very potent time. It's interesting. A study done in the United States found that 3 out of 5 people expect this Christmas to be a lonely experience, which is an increase from previous years.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is
That's
that?
exactly. Why is it going up? I'm not totally sure.
Divorce rates? I don't know.
Well, I don't know. Certainly, among younger adults, they're spending so little time in person when they socialize. I wonder if that is partly to do with it. They're spending 30% of the time socializing in person that they would have spent 20 years ago.
Wow, because of social media and everyone's
Just
online.
the isolation and FaceTime.
Perhaps,
and not
yeah.
physical meetups.
Yeah, and that seems to make a difference.
Kyle, what
Yeah.
was Christmas like for you growing up as a child?
Oh, it was always a wonderful time. Chaotic when I was young, but always joyful. My parents split up when I was 5. Don't really remember much sort of before that time, but I got 2 Christmases essentially, one with mum, one with dad, stepsisters, cousins, and so it was always a very festive, fun time. Beautiful memories, of course. Dad loved. It's his favorite time of year, and mum also loved it as well, and always made a big deal about it with her side of the family. But yes, a little bit upset that I won't be with them this year. But
And that's down to you're an entrepreneur, you've got your own business, you've
Yes,
got to
I'm in
be
retail.
here. Yeah, so it's tough. When,
it is.
everybody gets paid first, you get paid last, and no holidays.
But it's always, I find a lot of joy in serving people at Christmas as well. I love seeing them buy the gifts and coming in all frantic and, so it is actually a very fun time. And I've worked retail my whole life. So I've worked, with loads of, crazy shoppers and things like that. But also the gift of, just that thoughtfulness of, I'm going home to, the UK or to wherever, and I want to get this very special something from Singapore. And, it's always such a joy to,
That is a great service.
service to them. Yeah.
And I think for me, Christmas is different for different people. So for me, as Jonathan well knows, I came from, pretty miserable childhood, and Christmas was a time that was particularly sensitive because my father, who was a manic depressive, had a violent temper, and he would go from 0 to 1,000 at the click of a finger. And Christmas was a time when you felt like it was walking on eggshells, everyone pretending to be happy families, but waiting for him to lose it because it was inevitable. But it's how long can we sustain this niceness? So it was, for me, it was not all happy memories at Christmas. And I think when you're a kid, that's quite hard to navigate. And I'll give you a couple of really juicy examples. So there was one Christmas, and I think I was 7 or 8, and we were all, my mother, father, sister, and I all ran the Christmas table, and I could tell with my father that the black cloud was already coming in from nowhere for no good reason. And I'd got up from the table, and somebody, and I know it wasn't me, had dropped an After 8 chocolate on the floor, and we had carpeted floors. So I stood up and I trod on it. And I looked at my father, and he absolutely went berserk, because obviously it's a sticky sweet in the carpet. And he came over and he thumped me so hard, I was unconscious on the floor. So I blacked out, and then I woke up, and he's kicking me in the stomach, and I'm trying to coil myself to protect myself. And, with him, you just had to kind of take it and then go to your room. But I remember for me, that was just a Christmas disaster, just having him, I ruined it, obviously, by treading on the After 8. And I'll never forget it, when there's moments in your life. It was almost like slow motion. I stood on it, and I just knew that would be the trigger. And, it's when you're not raised in a happy home. I think actually Christmas can be a really hard time because you're putting a group of people together who might not necessarily get on.
No,
and you're waiting for things to flare up. Jonathan, any thoughts on?
Sounds awful.
Sounds
Yes,
horrible.
it was awful. But,
Gosh. Did you, when you stood on the After 8, was it like by accident or?
oh yeah, totally by accident.
Of course,
Yeah, I would
you're
never
just a
do it.
kid.
But it was on the carpet, so obviously,
Yeah.
yeah.
Sounds awful.
And I'll just never forget treading on it because it was one of those
Knowing.
moments.
So what's that
Yeah.
impact since it's very young, right?
Well,
How old were you?
I think it's, I feel like often in my life I end up with people where I'm walking on eggshells. It just seems to be the pattern I've picked up from it.
And you've been very good at. I mean, you're very good
Exactly.
at handling narcissistic, angry men.
I am. Yeah, I know how to kind of avoid the battle.
Yeah.
I can spot the black cloud coming in. I know when to go and let them get over the angry feelings that come and come back when they've let that go. But as a kid, you can't do that. You can't say, right, I'm off to my own apartment. See you when you're in a better mood. You're stuck with it. And, with a father who's violent, you're trapped as a little kid. And yeah, so Christmases were quite a torturous time, frankly.
And I think they can be for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because even if we miss individuals, we put them all together. That's not always a good soup. There's always going to be some problems somewhere.
Yeah.
And in some families, there's a lot of problems everywhere. So I think it's interesting that there was a scale done to take a look at, are there events in your life that can predict heart disease? And Christmas and also vacations score, I think, that is quite high up on the scale as being events that are stressful. Now,
Right.
a lot of Christmases are great and a lot of vacations are fantastic, but net, they are stressful.
And if you've got some difficult people in the mix, where people are having to pacify them and
Yeah.
stop them from blowing up, it can be
And I think it
a
gets
long day.
Yeah, long day.
Long day, yeah.
And especially for people in the northern hemisphere where the days are shorter, you've got seasonal affective disorder coming into it. So there's grief, those who aren't there. There's seasonal affective disorder. There's missing people like you're likely to do as you're in Singapore and you've got family overseas.
Yeah.
And then there are all the family dynamics that can take place and the financial stresses. Can make it a very
cooking.
tricky time.
Yeah, and if I think of my childhood, most of it was about avoiding my parents and being out of the house as long as I could and just staying away. So days like Christmas where you're forced to
Yeah.
hang out together, it's not always
Not joyous
a
at all.
great thing.
So
So stressful.
you are independent now in a way. That is, how do you spend your Christmas now?
Well, I mean, it depends on whether I'm dating someone, and I've had some wonderful Christmases with boyfriends, and then I've also dated people they're divorced, they've got kids, and they end up being with their kids and their ex-wives for Christmas Day, and it's, that's also been, a bit. You feel rather excluded.
Yeah.
As much as you understand it
Yeah,
and get that it's a family day and they want to be with their kids, I get that, but still you're not part of that. And I think that's very common because I hear the same thing from a lot of my girlfriends, that they're expected to kind of wait on the sidelines. And when it's convenient, they'll,
Be included.
they're not included in the family day, but,
Yeah.
boyfriend or new husband will come back once he's done his Christmas
Family
with the
to-dos.
Right.
ex and the kids.
So for me, Christmas is not something we usually celebrate. And I choose to work because Christmas season is the best time to work. There's not a lot of things going on. Everyone's on leave. But talking about that, the equivalent festival for us is apparently the Chinese New Year.
Yes.
And ever since I left China 14 years ago, I have never been back during Chinese New Year because I don't like the winter in Shanghai.
Wow.
I'd certainly miss. I know when it's during Chinese New Year, people got crazy, they got drunk, they play mahjong, they gamble, all the uncles and aunties. But that's kind of something I miss, the messiness. And especially when my grandma passed away 2 years ago, when she just passed 100 years old. He was the one raised me up. So I really felt it's almost like the center pillar of the house, even though she's not really supporting or working, but she's still a spiritual pillar where everyone still come back and meet. Now when I go back to China, I really feel no, it's just a small family. I just go back to meet my parents, maybe some close relatives. So I really miss those festivals where, like a kid, you go to a place where you see different uncle and quickly you learn, okay, this is a rich family, this is not a rich family by the red packet, the hongbao we have. Yeah, I miss that a lot. And I'm just thinking about the next generation, like my son, how much fun they are missing. Our gathering, our family, like Chinese New Year or Christmas has never been that messy. And I don't know, for their generation, when they grow up, what will be like? Will the loneliness be even more? Or maybe they are so used to it. So I don't know, but I do miss my childhood when you have those traditional celebrations.
Would you consider taking your son back to Shanghai and braving the
Start
cold
your own.
just to give him that
Oh,
Chinese New Year
he did.
experience?
He did. I think the family, the connection with grandparents are so important. And for their generation, they're just sticky on the phone and the laptop. So the connection with real human being and the love from family members are very important. So yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of sounds like there was a swap of messiness, organic messiness, and loneliness. Like one disappeared and the other came in.
Yeah, I think I miss the crowdness, when everything's so messy, but there are people around, right? We are human beings. I also remember in our culture, we have a very famous New Year countdown performance lasting for 4 hours. It's crazy. It's stupid. It's very cheesy. Nobody watched it when I was in
It's like
China.
the Times Square countdown, isn't it? Something
It's really, really cheesy. The thing is, nowadays, I'm so punctual. That's the only thing I tie to when you're overseas. Like, this makes you feel that you are still connected to the hometowns or the people there. So find something that, and of course, in the new country, slowly started to make new friends. So you will have always bring different people on day 1, day 2, the New Year Eve. It takes a lot of effort to make sure you don't feel lonely, because I don't enjoy loneliness by myself. So bring people along, celebrate, exchange stories. That's very important in our culture.
And you just said the word making an effort. And I feel like, obviously I've had some Christmases alone, but there have been other options, and you can make the effort to, join friends or go overseas, whatever it may be. So sometimes I think people elect to be alone and, vegetate, watching lots of TV and eating lots of bad food and
Just binge watching. Yeah.
yeah, taking a relaxing day.
I think it's important to try and distinguish between being alone and being lonely. Like, if you're going to be alone, how do you have it as maybe a period of solitude as opposed to with the angst and the sense of, that I'm a bad or inadequate person that comes with loneliness.
Yeah.
I remember a few Christmases ago, I had a change in plan and I took a meditation retreat. And that was a reflective time. It wasn't that part of me wasn't thinking, oh gosh, maybe I should have made the effort to try and spend time with family this year. But it just wasn't feasible. And that was actually quite pleasant. But I was helped by the fact that there were other people doing the same. I think if I had been actually physically on my own, that would have been harder.
So you had some camaraderie, but then it wasn't
Silent
a Christmassy
camaraderie.
event. It was silent camaraderie.
Silent camaraderie.
But
Meditation.
experiencing the same experience
Yeah.
in their own journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, some of my friends, because there are a lot of people choose to be single, stay by themselves at this age. So, and they are working overseas from the home country. So some of them choose to do volunteer work during those seasons. And you are surprised to see there are so many people out there, elderly or underprivileged. They so much need help, especially during those seasons.
Yep.
So I've seen someone dedicated to this work. It's definitely kick away the loneliness and also eventually brought back the appreciation of what they already have and have the feeling of I'm helping someone. So I think that might be something valuable, even if, for example, a small family wanted to do together as a family event during those times.
And that's a great idea for people where you can give back and the focus is less about you and your loneliness and more about doing some good. And it's meant to be the season of goodwill and
ironically,
being service.
acts of service seem to be associated with an increase in happiness. So trying to help someone else, actually, it helps the giver.
Yeah.
Like hospitals, they always need help,
soup kitchens.
Soup kitchens, yep, elderly, definitely. Animal shelters, big one.
Oh, animal shelter is definitely going to be helpful. The showering, walking the dogs, and etc. It helps us more than the dog, I think.
100%.
Definitely, yeah.
Are there any more studies around that, Jonathan?
Around
volunteering during your tough times?
I think it's a 6% increase in happiness or something. It's like a significant, not huge, but that doing acts of service seem to increase happiness. Also, they found that taking a few moments to notice things you're grateful for, that's also associated with an increase in happiness. So even if you're going into let's say you're going to spend a few days alone at Christmas and there are going to be all of these photos of everyone being happy, thinking about what are the things that I do enjoy? What are the things I am grateful for? And I think to structure the day, if you know that you're going into a tough few days, be it Christmas or whatever it might be, what time do you want to wake up? What do you want to do? Because you could end up just binge watching or doom scrolling, and that's probably not going to be very helpful. But if you can set up some kind of a routine like we all did in lockdown, that is general, and who are you going to reach out to? It's like, oh, there's that good friend who I know he's going off to hang out with his family, but I can always give him a call if I feel miserable. So setting things up ahead of time, I think, is really good.
Or just going for a nice walk and thinking about your blessings.
On Christmas, I'm going to take a nice walk around this area I haven't been to for a while.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Exploring.
Those things I think
you've got
really
the
help.
time as well. Like you're not working and you can just get on a bus and go wherever.
And certainly once you're an adult, you obviously have the power to make the decision on how you want to spend your day. You're not kind of trapped in a family dynamic you can't get out of. You can make the decision whether you want to share your Christmas with friends or if you want to go to a church or whatever it may be.
And I think noticing, like, if you are feeling lonely, then kind of going, I'm feeling lonely, rather than pretending to yourself you're not. That sort of mindful, just being aware of, I think it's already quite a lot.
So that's a very important part when we talk about emotional control. And a lot of time, the misunderstanding is in order to have emotional control, I need to control my emotion. It's the opposite. You need to be aware, accept, sometimes surrender, then you will be able to manage it. If you just try to cover it, it will come back.
Bite you.
And talking about the daily routine, it reminds me of a friend. So do you know which country is the loneliest country? Maybe in Asia?
In Asia?
Yeah, I probably, just to be safe, Asia, not the whole world.
No idea.
The longest?
Yeah. So Japan. Thinking about
I've worked with my fair share of Japanese offices.
Not very surprising, right? So when you look into the Japan culture and the aging problem, the culture, the very controlled, reserved culture, actually this is something Japanese friends, because they definitely learn how to deal with the loneliness or alone, not necessarily loneliness. And I really think there is a little bit something there. So it's a combination of Japanese plus Western philosophy. So it's called Happy Dose, DOSE, and it stands for 4 chemistries. D stands for dopamine. And this is their culture of ganbate. So achievement, appreciation. When they eat a nice food, they will say, "Oh, so oishi." If you notice the Japanese way of expression, it's so exaggerated. And this creates those D, dopamine for them. Doing the small achievements, giving the self-worth. And O is oxytocin, which is the hugging a dog, hugging yourself, hugging if you don't have a partner, you don't have like a wife or husband, receiving a massage, all of these give you those love messages. And DOSC. So S is serotonin, which is challenging in North Hemisphere. In Singapore, you get a lot of sun, so running or going outside, getting a rainbow food. And the last one is endorphin, dancing, laugh therapy, all of these. So I think, so basically the tip for me is Japanese are taking the happy dose. They make sure they have DOSC every day to structure the day. Make sure whatever you do, you clock all the four letters and your day should be happy. So I was like, oh, okay. So, well, I've never tried it, but it's an interesting way of looking at how you structure your day and make it scientifically happy.
Maybe that's why a lot of Christmas movies are comedy movies.
Yeah, love therapy. It's
Absolutely.
Lift people's
Go
spirits.
to the comedian show.
Comedy shows, definitely.
I like it. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. And then just going back to, being a grown-up and, making that decision that, okay, I'm going to get through this day and I'm going to have some plans and I'm not going to be a misery guts. That comes with being an adult. But I think when you're a child, it can be a time where, there's family rifts or arguments and you're rather trapped in that situation. So I think, mentally, how do you move out of associating these festive holidays as actually quite a grim time? Any ideas, Jonathan, on how to kind of move on from it? Because I still, even though obviously I'm very grown up now,
but it's traumatic.
It's still those memories hurt. And I'll give an example because I'm still kind of reeling from this, but I know you've heard it before, Jonathan, but my mother, who was always a very cold, just a cold, hard person, frankly. She was very strange because when I was a little kid and my sister was 2 years younger than me, she would buy us Christmas presents, which on Christmas morning we would open, and it was usually a couple of dolls and something to play with. And we would take them out of the boxes and start playing with them, and then she would say, but you girls have been so bad this year, you need to pack everything up and it's all going back to the shops. And she did that. She took everything away and we didn't see it again.
Gosh.
And she did this year on year until my sister and I learnt to look like we weren't bothered by it. And then my mother kind of lost the joy of disappointing us because we were like, whatever. And it took us quite a few years to learn to act like we didn't care. But that memory, it always is with me because it's just, it's so strange, this behavior that, she would just rejoice in taking things back and just causing all this kind of sadness and confusion and thinking, well, how was I bad? Because we really weren't bad. But in her head, there was something making her behave like that. So how do you kind of leave that behind completely? And
wow, it's a horrible one. It's a hard one. I imagine as a child that being so upsetting and so confusing. What have I done bad, and why doesn't Mum, or does Mum not love me? Or I can imagine a lot of that. So I kind of think of it probably not being as an individual event. It's about something bigger, something perhaps in your relationship with your mother. And so I would kind of incline myself, because I'm a psychotherapist, to think about psychotherapy and maybe something like, be it hypnosis or EMDR or dynamic therapy, where you're trying to heal that wound that is still alive today. And it probably is covered up for 11 months of the year. And then it comes up again. And it could be that you'll go to your grave with some of that still there. But I think good therapy can reduce the amount that these old painful wounds, some of them obviously very deep, but it can reduce the harm that they bring. And I can imagine wounds like that could affect your relationships with a partner. Partner is being nice. Some part of you might be going, is he gonna, suddenly withdraw? That these wounds from childhood can spread. And so it can be very valuable to try and heal them. But in my experience, when there's a window of opportunity, so let's say it's coming up for you at this time of year, now would be a good time to say, do some trauma work or some therapy work. Come January, if that's gone, the sort of window of opportunity will be somewhat closed.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure there's so many kids out there who are having a rotten time of it during the festive season and getting scarred for life by their parents and their antics. It's good to have your advice.
Yeah, and trauma therapy can really be very effective for some people. It's one of those areas of psychology it's been good.
Something must have happened to your mum that it made her be like that, you know?
I know she went to boarding school at a very early age, and she said she was abused by the nuns.
Oh, good Lord.
So I know she had all her trauma going on, but I still think you don't need to then pass it on to your kids as well. You know, it's like
they don't know any
don't
better.
have children if you're going to torture them. You know, so that's the sore point. It's like, yeah, but
and perhaps part of the reason you don't have children.
Yeah.
not so sure about that, but
No, okay.
yeah. Okay. So, Echo, you specialize in mental toughness and building resilience. You know, for those people who are struggling at Christmas and New Year and having a difficult time, you know, what practical measures can they undertake to improve their mindset?
Yeah. So I'm sorry to hear that. I'm still trying to recover from all the stories.
Yes.
It's decades and
And I was
decades
like,
later.
I don't have anything to say.
Yeah.
I think one of the misconcept again is the word mental toughness sounds very tough, and that's a wrong message. We don't need to be tough. And when we talk about resilience, it's only half of the story. So the mindset, in order for someone to not only survive through the holiday season, but also thrive, become a better person, you need the other half of the story, which is positivity. So it's not showing up in the name itself, but when we talk about mental toughness, it's resilience plus positivity. So during those seasons, of course, you need to have a little bit perseverance to get through and plan your day in a structured way. But I'll say the most practical way is look at all the things you can do to make yourself feel happy. To look at the things that you can do either with friends, by yourself, that make you feel good about yourself. It's not about others. So what do you want to do that you didn't have time? What brings you happiness? And again, everyone can be different. So exploring those list of activities and plan them out throughout the holiday seasons and making sure you achieve them, maybe some of them, a sense of achievement will be there. So I think that will be very important. As I shared earlier, I always wanted to look at opportunity to support others. So what are the opportunities now? I am independent, I'm by myself, I can support myself. What else I can do? There are so many people, there are people with disadvantage, not necessarily a disability, families who might need people to, spend time with them. Autism, I recently am discovering the autism school, which is, spending time with them, taking them out through, for one day will change how you see the world. So I really recommend instead of just digging into yourself and say, oh, so sad, why I'm by myself, oh, why everyone's like that, why I don't have this. Think about outward. What can you do? What else can you do? Who else can you reach out to? And it's more about how can you help them and how can you help yourself to feel good.
And Kara, with your customers, we were talking earlier and you said there's a lot going on at the moment. People are losing jobs. There's quite a lot of retrenchments going on. The divorce rates seem really high right now. I don't know why. I keep reading people and are having problems at home. So, you must be hearing when you talk to your customers about lots of
there's a lot of
situations.
A lot of difficulty out there and loneliness. People in separations, going through divorces, missing their kids. I've just recently seen some woman's child's gone missing, like the person took the child away. I mean, there's so many atrocities going on in this, this space. And just in the last, I think even 1 week, we've had typhoons, we've had fires, we've had all of this tragedies, and people coming in and talking about it and saying, are you from Hong Kong? Are you from, and people really telling their stories and saying, look, my family's safe. Thank you for asking. And it really is just quite harrowing. So I think, back to what Echo just said, like, how can we be of service to and be so grateful for what we have and
Definitely
try and, lift each other's spirits, or be of service to, organizations that are helping, whether it's the fires or whether it's in the Philippines or Thailand, or, raising awareness for these, horrendous atrocities that are going on. And instead of thinking about ourselves, how can we be, and talk about it. Yes, talk
to be
about
grateful for what you have got.
Absolutely.
Rather than what you
gratitude
haven't got.
will ground you in a second. Yeah.
I mean, I have, as I was saying on another episode, I have discovered meditation, which for years I didn't really buy into it. I know you're a guru for meditation, Jonathan, but for me, I just really didn't have the time or inclination until I lost my job recently. And then I really learned it's a very powerful tool to just shift your mindset from being depressed and really down. It can shift it to feeling more positive and upbeat, and gratitude is a big part of that, looking at all the good things in your life. And it could be small things. You're looking at, you've got some beautiful flowers growing in your garden or on your street, or, there's a stray cat that says hello to you every morning. I mean, it can be the small stuff, but it can lift you up. And, I think we do have to count our blessings. And
I think it's often the small interactions that make a big difference. That brief but nice conversation with the taxi driver or the guard, or that these little things actually are quite helpful. When those disappear as well, then that can be very uncomfortable.
Just being able to get coffee every day, have a nice coffee is like helps. Such a joy. That's just one thing.
You will appreciate it if
And the person who makes it.
Yeah, and also this reminds me of some of the leadership program we've done back in the Great Wall, and we did our camping in Great Wall. Basically, all the senior executives, they are so used to 5-star hotels, and for that night in the camp, nothing. And the second day morning on the Great Wall,
Oh, wow.
all days.
Really? Wow.
Nowadays, it's very hard. There are certain parts that you can do this. And on the second day morning, when they are brought back to the hotel room, started to do reflections and serve the warm hot coffee, the appreciation they had. So sometimes it's really about either look at yourself, what you already have, and supporting others. Sometimes it's also a reflection where you see, these are the things I have, but I shouldn't take this for granted. How can I give more, and how do I appreciate more? These are really sometimes helpful to see the day-to-days.
And we are lucky to be here. And, I had my 2 best friends in London have both died from cancer. So one had leukemia and one had breast cancer. And they died really young. One was 38, the other one 42. And they left behind little children. And I always think, no matter what's happening in my life, I know they would love to be here, and I'm so lucky I am still here when they're denied that. And, we do have to count our blessings. Even if times are tough, we're still standing, we're still here, we're still in the running, and
Can make a difference.
things can happen. Or yes, as you said, we make a difference.
Even
So let's move now on to New Year and all the emotions surrounding New Year's resolutions.
Actually, before we do, let me just sort of chime in. Like one tiny tip for like Christmas, if you're expecting to spend it alone, try not to spend more than 30 minutes on social media. That this seems to be a useful number.
Really?
That more than 30 minutes is more associated with loneliness. And so, keeping it
Minimal.
which
Is
is
it
sort
safe
of
for children?
ironic.
Kids on social media as well?
Well, I don't know.
Okay,
I don't know.
but
'cause
adults.
Adults, yeah.
Okay,
Adults, yeah.
that's really interesting.
Yeah.
No more surfing.
Well, you think it means you're more connected, right? Because you're connecting to the social media connects you to hundreds of people. But no, it turns out that doesn't really work that way.
Come and hang out at the shop, babe.
You end up watching ridiculous things. I'm obsessed with. There's a comedy thing of a cat. It's a really fat cat. And the guy every day says, "This lazy fat cat today is doing this," and the cat's just kind of sprawled asleep. And I can't help but watch it every day, and nothing changes. It's just always asleep somewhere. But it's true, you're going to get watching all this mindless stuff, and it's not necessarily a good use of your time. Yeah.
But go on, you were saying at New Year's.
Yeah, so we're heading towards New Year, and then you have obviously New Year's resolutions, and what will this new year bring? And you know, for some of us, if you've had a difficult year, it's like, thank God that year's over with, and here's a fresh new start. At the same time, you're telling us that more people are thinking about committing suicide as the new year comes in.
Yeah, that one Austrian study showed that. Although, most suicides tend to happen spring and summer. But it's interesting, people start the year with New Year's resolutions, and 80% of them have been forgotten by the end of February.
That's good going. I normally break mine within 3 hours.
I just don't do them.
That's a great one.
I just don't do them.
Don't blame you.
No,
No,
I
same.
just
Really?
I try and do them throughout the year and not put so much emphasis on it, because you do get very disgruntled with yourself and you get very disappointed, and then you give up. And I think can be sad in itself, because you're almost like letting yourself down.
Yeah.
You know, and then you stop trying, and then that's when you go down, 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 down.
I've had the same New Year's resolutions for 30 years, which I think is
Really?
telling me something. Yeah.
What is it?
To give up chocolate, because I'm
No.
addicted to it,
Uh-huh.
and to do the splits.
Nothing wrong with chocolate.
To do the splits.
Yes.
Possible.
Wow.
The chocolate, no.
Yeah, you just sit in front of the TV eating the chocolate, practicing the splits. There you go. There you go.
That might
Can you
work.
learn anything on YouTube?
That's a
these
great
days?
idea.
Yeah, coming to the New Year resolution, 50% of the human being, like population, we are not motivated by goals. That's from the research, and that's how we look into, again, mental toughness. We just realize nowadays when we talk about organization, performance management, it's quite ridiculous. Like 50% of the people, they look at the goal, they are not motivated by it. Why are you still doing it? So that's why New Year's resolution give people a kind of a false hope in a way. It also creates those stress. So for me, I have never done it. Good for me. I've really never done it. And when I look at people, like a long list of New Year resolution, to me, it's always the day-to-day. Whatever you can do day-to-day, whatever you can do every month, do it. And the outcome. So for people who, like normally people who don't want to hit that high, but who is willing to put in effort, they will always achieve something more than you expect. That will give you pleasure to me. So yeah, I don't know how to feel about New Year resolution. Never done it. Not a big fan. Yeah.
I think New Year's can be, like it's good to have a time, New Year's or whenever, to reflect, how did I live this year? How have I lived the last umpteen years? How do I want to live next year?
How do I want to improve?
Yeah.
Where did it go wrong? Where did it go? What was right?
Yeah.
What do I want more of, less of?
Definitely more chocolate.
No, not for me, as you can tell.
I have a friend. We don't see each other very often anymore, but we continue every year. We kind of like resume some silly New Year's resolution, and we'll text each other every time we screw up, and it's become a kind of fun thing. It's never very serious.
More meaning than that.
But it's like a thread of connection with this friend of mine in the Netherlands. But I think having a time of reflection can be good. I think maybe a structured time is better than just a free form, especially if you've got low self-esteem and might end up just criticizing yourself.
And maybe write it down. Write down what was good that happened in this year.
And what can I be proud of? It's like, well, nothing. It's like, well, what are you most proud of? And all the things you're not proud of. So just some things where you're like, yeah, I did okay here. And this would be areas for me to kind of be more mindful of. Or I think, I've been working with some people recently who have many areas of life are very successful. Got the family doing well financially, careers doing great. And then it comes to socially, and they're like, socially it's bleak. I see my wife once or twice a week because I'm flying all the time, and I have no friends. You know, the people who have the best part of me are my clients, and it's like, okay, is that something you want to keep, or do you take this time of reflection and think about, do you want to change something?
And do you think people do change?
I think often for something like that, unless there's a dramatic shock, there's a crisis, it takes us few goes. It might take a few years, it might take a few conversations. When there's a dramatic shock, then people do change often very quickly.
So they have a heart attack and
Something like
have
that.
a second lease of life.
But often, like, they have a heart attack. A gentleman I know, he told me with a smile on his face, someone in his 40s, he just had a heart attack. He said, I realized my heart attack was worth $3 million. And he had a smile. I was like, how do you come up with these numbers? And he's like, well, my client, I can't be fired now because I'm on some sort of medical leave. And this is what it means for, I was like, this is losing the point. But this was a person who'd grown up in poverty.
Right.
And so for him, it, like, financially, it's like for him, that heart attack was not going to stop him from a very unhealthy lifestyle because he could see a benefit in it.
Right. So we're just going to finish off by putting on our Christmas headbands, getting into the spirit. Cara, I need to light you up. Hold on, this little button.
Cute.
Oh,
What's this?
We're going to rock out.
Oh, there you
Very
go.
cute.
So our guest today is sparkling. So let's finish the session just by each giving kind of a positive tip or observation to finish up. Cara.
Oh, just go do all the things. Don't overthink it. Get out there. Have a go. Just do it all because you never know. Just have a go. Don't be afraid. Like me doing this podcast. Yeah, just give it a go. Try it. Go out there.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Good advice, Jonathan.
Yeah, think of a couple of things that you're grateful for. So if it does become a lonely day, maybe just find one or two things, not to be Pollyanna, but just to kind of help yourself break out of any darkness.
Okay.
yeah. I think one thing is if you happen to be spending a holiday by yourself alone, doesn't mean you need to be lonely, right? So that's the message. And after discussing so many options, I think it's positive. It's about all the options you can try it out if you haven't tried. And I think one of the very important thing is reach out to somebody and send them like a warm message that will give you a lot of love. So reach out.
Yes, and just embrace, the festive chocolates and
And
biscuits and brandy snaps and all your favorite
All of them.
bingey foods, and watch some good Netflix and go for that nice walk, reflecting on
Yeah.
why it's worth still being here. And
Definitely. Practicing your splits.
crikey, I'm not
a
that
good
bad
one.
at it. It's a good one. Like, I'm about that far off. I just need someone to give me a big push.
Don't do that. I'll make sure you don't
Next
do that.
podcast will be about orthopedic surgery.
So thank you for joining us today on Ella Podcasts. If you know someone who is feeling down at spending Christmas and New Year alone, please share this with them and it may help. We hope that anyone out there feeling alone finds these tools today useful in coping with that loneliness. If you'd like us to cover other subjects on tough times, please join our Facebook group at Ella Podcasts and message me. Please rate and share the episode. Wishing you a very happy Christmas and a better New Year ahead, and sending you all a big hug.